The sky was dark. The prison planet of Phalos 9 never had a sunrise, only storms and lightning. Cold winds blew across the rocky land. Strange creatures moved in the shadows. This was not a place for life. It was a place to break spirits. In the middle of this cruel world was a prison camp. Built from metal and bones, it held creatures from many worlds. Some were warriors, some were rebels, and some were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. One of them was Lyra. She was not like the others. Her skin was silver blue, and her eyes glowed like stars. She came from the planet Solara, a race known for their beauty and advanced minds. But today, she was nothing more than a prisoner. Her hands were tied. Her body was weak. Her hope was gone. Guards dragged her across the sharp rocks. They were tall, armored aliens with red eyes and no mercy. One of them laughed. "She will scream," he said. "The piranhas love it when they scream." Lyra didn't speak. Her lips were dry. Her feet bled, but still she held her head high. She was scared, but she would not give them her tears. Guards reached the edge of a black lake. It was wide and silent, but under the surface, something deadly moved. These were not Earth piranhas. They were faster, smarter, hungrier, made by science mixed with hate. One guard pushed Lyra forward. "You are the bait," he said. "A real monster lives in this lake. We want to wake it up." She looked at him, confused. "Why?" she asked. The guard grinned. "For sport. Our master wants a new challenge. You will bring the beast out." Then he shoved her into the cold water. She fell with a splash, her body sinking into the darkness. The cold hit her like knives. She tried to scream, but the water filled her mouth. She saw shadows swimming all around her. Teeth, eyes, motion. Death. Suddenly crash. A loud alarm rang through the prison camp. The guards turned. What was that? From one of the cages, a human man was fighting. His fists were bloody. His eyes full of fire. Jackson Reed. He was tall, strong, and wild. His beard was rough. His clothes were torn. But his spirit was alive, more alive than anyone else on this planet. Had watched Lyra being dragged. He had heard the words, bait, monster, death, and he couldn't stay silent. With one final punch, he broke the control panel. The electric gate sparked and flew open. Before the guards could stop him, he was running toward the lake. "Shoot him," one guard shouted. But Jackson didn't stop. He jumped. Arms wide, eyes open, heart ready. He dived into the black water. The guards shouted. Gunfire hit the rocks around the lake. But it was too late. Under the water, Jackson grabbed Lyra. She was barely conscious. The piranhas were close. He could feel them, their movement, their hunger. He pulled her up, kicking hard. Bubbles rose around them. A flash of teeth passed, inches from his leg. He didn't care. They broke the surface with a gasp. "Hold on," he shouted. She opened her eyes. She didn't know him, didn't understand him, but she held on. Jackson swam to the far side of the lake. Bullets hit the water behind them. One passed his ear. Another struck a fish, which exploded in blood. He reached the rocks and climbed up, pulling her with him. She coughed, water spilling from her mouth. The guards screamed from across the lake. One pulled out a communicator. "Send the hunter," he said. "The human is loose," and he took the bait. Jackson looked down at the alien girl. "You okay?" he asked. She stared at him, weak but alive. "Why? Why did you save me?" he shrugged. "Because no one else would." She blinked. Her lips trembled. No one had ever said that before. Not to her. Darkness. Lyra floated in it, weightless, cold, alone. She didn't know if she was alive or dying. Her body was numb. Her mind was quiet. But somewhere deep inside, a single thought echoed. Why? Did the human save me? She saw flashes, silver water, red eyes, teeth, hands grabbing her, heat, a voice saying, "Hold on." Then, light. She opened her eyes with a gasp. Air burned in her lungs. Her body ached. She was lying on the ground. Wet, shaking, confused. Above her, trees with glowing leaves stretched across the sky. Strange sounds echoed through the jungle. Growls, clicks, and whispers. The ground was red and pulsing, like it was alive. And next to her, the human. He was checking a small wrist device. It was old, scratched, and blinking red. About time. "You woke up," he said without looking at her. She tried to speak, but coughed instead. "Don't talk," he said. "You swallowed a lot of that lake water. It's poison. Not enough to kill, but enough to mess you up for a while." He handed her something round. "Eat this." She stared at it. "What is it?" "Not poison," she hesitated. Then ate it. It was bitter. Her stomach turned, but slowly her head cleared. "Where are we?" she asked, sitting up. "Half a click from the lake, deep in the jungle." "They won't follow yet," he said. "Not until they send something worse." Lyra looked at him. He was dirty, bruised, and bleeding, yet calm, focused, alive. "You're human," she said. "Last I checked." "You were a prisoner too?" He nodded. "Caught in a mining raid 6 months ago. They killed my team. Took me for experiments." Lyra frowned. "You saved me. But we were enemies in the war." Jackson looked at her, serious. "War's over. Doesn't matter to the piranhas, right?" She looked down. He was right. "What's your name?" she asked quietly. "Jackson Reed." "I'm Lyra." "Nice to meet you, Lyra," he said, standing. "Now get up. We don't have long." Suddenly, a sharp sound, like metal scraping bone, echoed through the jungle. Jackson froze. "Damn, too late." He pulled Lyra to her feet and moved fast. "They sent a hunter." She didn't speak. Her face went pale. "You know what that is?" Jackson asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, we built them. To kill anything that runs." Branches broke behind them. A loud, deep growl rumbled through the trees. Trees shook. A bird-like creature exploded in feathers. "Run," Jackson said. They ran, dodging trees, jumping roots, breathing hard. The ground shook behind them. Lyra risked a glance back and saw it. A massive creature, part machine, part beast. 4 legs like blades, eyes glowing blue. A long tail with a spike. It didn't walk. It hunted. It didn't roar. It clicked, like it was laughing. "Don't stop." Jackson shouted. They reached a cliff. Below, sharp rocks and fog. "Now." "What?" Lyra cried. Jackson looked around. "There." He pointed to a narrow path carved in the side of the cliff. "Go first. Stay low." They crawled across, gripping the edge. Wind howled. The jungle below roared. Behind them, the hunter reached the cliff. It stared. It waited. And then it leapt. Straight at them. "Jump!" Jackson yelled. They both jumped, sliding down the side, hitting branches and rocks, finally landing hard and thick. "Mud." Lyra groaned. Jackson pulled her up. The hunter was still above, searching, but for now, they were alive. They crawled into a cave, deep and narrow. Inside, it was quiet, safe, for the moment. Lyra sat down, breathing hard. "Why are you helping?" "Me?" she asked again. Jackson wiped blood from his forehead. "Because you're not the enemy anymore." She looked at him. "What if I told you I was one of the scientists who helped design that hunter?" He paused. "Then I'd say, you're lucky I believe in second chances." Lyra didn't reply. For the first time in years, she felt something strange. Hope. Outside. The jungle screamed, and the hunter was still out there. It could smell them. The hunter moved through the jungle like a shadow of death. Its legs clicked on the hard roots. Its breathing was slow, mechanical, measured. It was not alive, not fully. But it remembered things like war, like blood, and like the scent of a human. Its mission was clear. Capture the human. Kill the alien. Return the bodies, but something inside it hesitated. Its blue eyes scanned the foggy jungle. One of the human's tricks had worked, a chemical trail leading the wrong way. But the hunter was learning. Faster with each hour. It touched a tree trunk. A heat signature. Faint. 5 hours old. They were close, and the hunter was patient. Far away. Deep inside a dead tree cave, Lyra and Jackson rested near a small smokeless fire. Rain dripped from the cracks above. The cave smelled like ash and rot, but it was safe. For now, Jackson cleaned a cut on his arm. Stupid jump. Almost lost my damn leg. Lyra sat across from him, quiet, watching. You don't talk much, Jackson said. You ask too many questions. He chuckled. That's how humans survive. We ask. We figure things out. You aliens just follow orders. Lyra's eyes narrowed. You think we chose to become killers? We were built to obey. My people had no choice. Jackson looked at her. You have one now. Silence. Then Lyra pulled something from her belt. A small silver cube. What's that? He asked. She hesitated. Then placed it on the ground. It glowed, showing a 3D image. A face. Her brother, young, proud, in military armor. He died. Testing the first hunter, Lyra said. Her voice was cold. They said it was a noble accident. I believed them, until I saw the data. She tapped the cube again. The image changed. Files, codes, experiments. And a picture of Jackson's old military unit, in chains. Jackson's face turned pale. Where did you get that? From the lab, before they locked me up. I tried to stop them. That's why they threw me to the piranhas. Jackson stared at the cube. One of the soldiers in the photo, his best friend, was missing an eye. He remembered that eye. He remembered the scream when they were taken. They used your people to build the hunter, Lyra said softly. Human DNA mixed with machine. It wasn't just science, it was torture. Jackson sat back. So the thing chasing us might remember me. Lyra nodded. Or worse, it might want revenge. Just then, a loud thump echoed through the cave. Dust fell from the roof. Jackson grabbed his weapon, a sharp metal pipe. Did it find us? Lyra whispered. No, too soon. That sound was heavier, like a drop ship. They crept to the entrance and peeked out. Far above the jungle trees, a black ship hovered. It dropped something big, a crate, crashing through the branches. A mechanical voice echoed from the ship. Sector purge begins in 4 hours. No survivors expected. Lyra's face turned white. They're going to erase this whole area. Bomb? It, Jackson asked. Worse. They'll release the feeders. Jackson blinked. What the hell is a feeder? She looked him dead in the eyes. Things that eat everything. Metal, flesh, bone, even the air. Jackson cursed under his breath. We need to move, he said. But where? There's an old mine to the north. I saw it when I was locked in the tower. If there's any old tech left, maybe we can call for help. Lyra looked at the fire. No one answers distress calls from Thalos 9, he grinned. I didn't. Say I'd send a distress call. They packed quickly. Lyra tucked the cube in her belt. Jackson tightened the pipe to his back. They left the cave and ran through the thick trees again, side by side. This time, not as strangers, not as enemies, but not quite friends either, somewhere in the jungle behind them. The hunter tilted its head. It had heard the cube's signal. And for the first time, it said a word, a name. Jackson. Silence. Jackson opened his eyes to darkness. The air was cold. Wet. Heavy. He was lying on stone. His shoulder ached. His head throbbed. He sat up fast. Lyra? He called out. No answer. He looked around. He was in a large underground chamber, ancient, forgotten. Rusted machines lined the walls. A blue light blinked weakly above a broken console. The ceiling dripped with black water. Lyra, he called again, louder now. Still nothing. Then, a whisper. Not words, just a breath. Not human. Jaxon stood up, gripping the metal pipe strapped to his back. He moved slowly, careful, listening. He stepped over cracked tiles, broken wires, and bones, real bones, small ones. Then suddenly a sharp clang echoed through the tunnels. He froze. It wasn't close, but it was getting closer. He ran toward the sound, hoping it was Lyra. He turned a corner and stopped. She was there, kneeling in front of a glowing screen, her hand hovering above a control pad. She turned as he entered. "You're awake," she said. "You left me unconscious on the floor," he replied. "I didn't mean to. You passed out from blood loss. I pulled you in here before the rain came." He looked around. "What is this place?" "An old cellar and research vault," she said. "Built before the war. My people used it to hide secrets. I didn't think it still existed." "What kind of secrets?" She hesitated. "Things we were afraid to finish." Jackson stepped closer. "And what are you doing now?" "I found something," she said. "An emergency beacon. Not standard. It's old, but human." That got his attention. "You're saying someone else has been here?" "Maybe," she replied. "Or maybe this was part of the first test runs. I don't know." Jackson stepped forward and looked at the screen. It showed coordinates, and one blinking word call on active. Then dash crash. The entire chamber shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. They both turned. From the far tunnel, footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Metal. Lyra single quotes S. Face turned pale. "It found us," Jackson whispered. "Run." They ran deeper into the vault, the echo of the hunter growing louder behind them. Not fast, but steady. Unstoppable. As they ran, lights blinked on around them. Ancient systems waking up. Red beams swept the halls. They passed broken androids, shattered cryo chambers, and walls marked with strange alien writing. One read, "Do not reawaken Subject 7. Lyra stopped. "Subject 7, she whispered. That was the hunter's prototype. Jackson stared at her. "You mean?" Before he could finish, a wall behind them exploded. The hunter stepped through. Its forelegs dug into the metal floor. Its head twisted sideways, too far, like a broken doll. Its blue eyes locked on Jackson. Then, for the first time, it spoke. "Jackson, read." Jackson froze. The voice. It was broken, robotic, but familiar. "Hell Squad, broken." Jackson shook his head. "No, that's impossible." "What is it saying?" Lara asked. He whispered. "It's speaking like my old team." The hunter moved forward. Its body was part flesh now, muscles fused with armor. One of its arms was human, pale, dead, stitched into the machine. "It's not just a machine," Lara said in horror. "They used your squad to build it." Jackson stepped back. His hand shook. I think it remembers me." Suddenly, the hunter charged. Jackson grabbed Lyra and dived aside. The creature smashed into the wall, crushing a pillar. Sparks flew. Rock cracked. The whole place shook. They ran again, this time toward the vault's upper chamber. "We can't outrun it." Lyra cried. "I'm not trying to," Jackson shouted. "I saw something earlier." They reached a sealed door. Jackson kicked it. Open, inside. A control room. A giant power core hummed in the center. Jackson ran to the controls. I can overload this. The blast will level this floor. Lyra stared. That'll kill it. And us, she said softly. Jackson didn't answer. He looked at her. Go. Now. She shook her head. Not leaving you again. The hunter's shadow appeared at the door. Time was out. Lyra grabbed a cable and pulled it loose. Sparks flew. Together they smashed it into the core. The room exploded in light. Jackson, wait for me. A voice echoed through darkness. It was warm, human. Laughter followed. Then gunfire, screams. A soldier fell. Another shouted. Orders, chaos, pain. The world spun. In a broken mirror of memory, the hunter saw a face. Young, scared, missing an eye. Don't let them take us. The memory flickered like a broken video screen. Then silence. And cold. And code. Boom. The explosion from the vault shook the ground. Fire spread. Rocks rained down. Somewhere below. In the ruins, Jackson's eyes snapped open. Dust filled his lungs. Pain surged in his ribs. He was alive. Lyra. He turned. She was beside him, bruised but breathing. Her silver blue skin was smudged with ash. Her hand was still gripping a broken cable. They had survived, barely, but the hunter was gone. For now, Jackson helped her sit up. Around them, strange machines hummed. They had fallen into a hidden chamber, deep under the vault. The walls here were different, smoother, older, covered in Celeran writing and holographic symbols. Lyra looked around in shock. This is not in any of our records. What is? This place? Jackson asked. She walked to the center, where a tall glass pillar stood. Inside it, a glowing orb, floating and pulsing slowly. She touched the control pad. The pillar lit up and a hologram appeared. A Celeran scientist speaking in calm tones. Project Origin. Final report, we failed. We tried to copy human strength. But something unexpected happened. Human emotion infected the code. Rage, loyalty, memory. The hunter remembers. We could not erase it. We could only bury it. Jackson stared, stunned. It remembers us, he said. That's why it spoke my name. Lyra stepped back, horrified. It wasn't supposed to do that, she said. Hunters were programmed to erase, not to feel. Jackson turned to her. But it does feel. It's haunted. She looked at him. We made something worse than a weapon. We made a ghost. Silence filled the chamber. Then Jackson asked, Why didn't you tell me this sooner? She hesitated. Because I helped to prove it, years ago. I thought it would protect my world. Jackson's face hardened. It destroyed mine. I know, she said. That's why I tried to stop it. That's why they called me a traitor. He looked away. They stood there, two survivors. From two broken sides of the same war. Then the orb inside the pillar shifted. It started spinning faster. Energy pulsed. What's happening? Jackson asked. The hunter, Lyra whispered. It's near. The system senses its code. Suddenly, the walls flickered, showing moving images. Live video. The hunter, limping, part of its armor melted, dragging itself through a tunnel above. Its body was broken, but not its will. It's still coming, Jackson said. Even after all that. Lyra pressed more controls. There's a transport shaft on the far side. If we can reach it, we might still get to the surface. Jackson nodded. But, she added, we have to shut this system down. If they capture it, they'll build more. Jackson looked at the orb. What happens if we destroy that? Lyra paused. Then the hunter might lose the last piece of itself. Jackson walked to the orb, looked into the glowing light. For a second, just a second, he thought he saw a human face inside, a face he knew. Your name was Darren, he whispered. His old friend. The one who never made it back. He turned to Lyra. Do it. She pressed her hand on the pad. The orb cracked, once, then again, then shattered lights went dark far above in the broken tunnels. The hunter stopped moving. It stared at nothing. Its voice tried to speak, but the words broke apart. Yeah, X. Then it fell like a puppet without strings. But it didn't die. It remembered. In the silence that followed, Jackson and Lyra climbed into the transport shaft. They rose slowly, toward the surface. Neither of them spoke. Too much had changed. We're no longer just running from a monster. They were carrying its memory. If anyone finds this, I want them to know why I stayed. Jackson spoke softly, recording his voice on a small cracked device. He sat alone in an abandoned observation tower high above the jungle ruins. The sky was gray, heavy with ash. Distant thunder rolled across the clouds. He looked out over the land, burned, broken, haunted. He continued, I stayed because someone had to, because running wasn't enough anymore, because maybe, just maybe, there's still something worth saving. He paused. Her name is Lyra. He stopped recording and placed the device on a metal shelf, like a grave marker. Then he stood and walked down the stairs. Inside the old control bunker below, Lyra was working fast. Her hands moved across glowing panels, wires sparking around her. Her eyes were tired but focused. The last planetary purge was about to begin, and the sky had already begun to turn red. She turned as Jackson entered. You sure about this? She asked. No, he said, but we're out of time. The plan was simple. Below the bunker was a core relay system still connected to the orbital weapons grid. It hadn't been used in years, but if they overloaded the core and directed it upward, they could take out the command ship before it released the feeders. The price? One person would need to stay behind, to power the relay manually, and die with it. Jackson already made his choice. Lyra crossed her arms. Why you? He shrugged. Because I've lived through too much. And you still have something to fix. She walked toward him. You're doing this because you think you deserve to die. No, he said. I'm doing this because you deserve to live. They stood there, staring at each other. For the first time, neither looked away. She said, We can find another way. There isn't one. Outside, alarms began to sound. The countdown had started. 10 minutes. The ship above was charging its drop pods. Jackson walked toward the lower door. Lyra followed. Wait, she said. You don't even know if the core will fire. Then let's find out, he replied with a half smile. They entered the core room, deep under the bunker. It glowed blue, pulsing like a heart. The panels were cracked. The systems were ancient. Lyra connected the relay. Once I send the target code, you'll have 30 seconds. He nodded. More than enough. She turned to leave, but he stopped her. Lyra, she turned. He didn't speak. He just looked at her, and then, gently, he placed something in her hand. The recorder. If you survive, play it, just once. She didn't know what to say, so she didn't say anything, just nodded. Then she ran. Jackson stood alone in the core chamber. The sound of systems coming to life filled the room. Lights flickered. Old power surged through the floor. Then, a sound behind him. Click, click. He turned. The hunter. It was still alive. Barely. Dragging itself across the floor. Armor cracked, limbs sparking. It looked at him. To kill, but as if it remembered. Yeah. Zone. Jackson's hands tightened on the relay. I'm not running this time, he said. The hunter reached out, not to strike, but to touch the console beside him, and for a moment, the light surged brighter. The code accelerated. Final charge began. Jackson stared at it. You still remember what it means to fight, don't you? The hunter didn't reply, but it didn't move either. It simply stood. Beside him, waiting, together, above the clouds. Lyra reached the surface. She saw the ship. She saw the red beams. Powering up. She opened the comm channel and sent the target code. Back in the bunker. The lights turned red. Jackson placed his hand on the final switch, looked at the hunter, and said, "Let's finish this." He pulled the lever. From space, a bright column of energy burst upward, piercing the clouds like a sword. It struck the command ship clean, and tore it in half. The feeders were never released. The sky went silent, and the bunker was gone. Lyra stood alone, staring at the smoke. In her hand, the recorder. She pressed play, and Jackson's voice returned. "Her name is Lyra." There was no sound, only light. Jackson stood in a wide white field. The sky above him was blue, the kind of blue Earth once had. Wind brushed across his face, but it didn't feel real. It felt like memory. In the distance, someone stood, one eye missing. Smiling. DERREN. His old squad mate. "I thought I lost you," Jackson said. DERREN nodded. "You did, but part of me stayed." Behind them, shadows stirred. Metallic, broken, twitching. Jackson looked down at his hands. They were glowing, fading. "I'm dead, aren't I?" Darren tilted his head. "Or maybe you just changed?" Then the field vanished. Lyra woke up to silence. Days had passed since the strike. The sky was still ash gray, but the red glow of the purge ships was gone. The air smelled like burnt metal and wet soil. She stood alone on a cliff, overlooking the ruins of Phalos 9. Beside her, a small transmitter dish blinked. She had fixed it, charged it, waited. No signal yet. She held the recorder in her hand. Jackson's voice still lived in it. She hadn't played it again. Not yet. Instead, she had begun to build something, not a weapon, a warning. A beacon. Far across the galaxy. Inside a quiet listening station orbiting Saturn's outer moon, a bored technician named Reeve nearly dropped his drink. Captain?" He called out. "What?" "I think we just picked up a signal. From Phalos 9. The room went silent. "Impossible," said the captain. "That planet is restricted space. Dead zone." Reeve turned the speaker on. A voice played. "Lyra's. 2. Any human who hears this, one of your own, saved my life. And maybe saved more than that." Back on the planet, Lyra walked through the jungle ruins. Where fire once raged, now small green plants had begun to grow again. Life was returning. She stopped at a pile of stones. A marker. She placed the recorder. There, pressed play. Jackson's voice spoke softly. "If anyone finds this, I want them to know why I stayed." As it played, Lyra smiled through tears. Behind her, a noise. Boots. She turned. Humans. 4 of them. Soldiers in black rescue suits. One of them lifted a scanner and waved. "We got your signal. Are you injured?" "No," she said. "But I'm alone." The soldier stepped forward, hesitating. "You're not human." "No," she replied. "But he was." She nodded toward the marker. The team lowered their weapons. The leader looked at her. "You said he stopped the purge?" "Yes," Lyra said. "And the machine?" The soldier paused. "Name? Jackson Reed?" The name was entered into the T. Log. A long silence followed. Then the soldier said, "We owe him." Months later, a statue stood in a new colony on a nearby moon. Not large, not grand. But strong. One human. One alien. Standing back. A plate below it read, "In memory of Jackson Reed, he didn't just fight to live. He fought so others could live together." Far away, in the deepest vault of Phalos 9, hidden behind stone and silence, something flickered. Not a weapon, a spark, a fragment of code, a whisper. "Ya, Zon,